Hey there guys, it's your good pal Wiggly, and welcome back to more Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations Blind. In the last episode, we investigated the murder of Mr. Kane Bullard a bit more, and discovered that Ron may actually indeed be Mask to Mask, except for not the Mask to Mask that stole the urn. He was blackmailed by somebody to do these all after the first one. It's a bit messy, but in this episode, we're going to be heading into the first trial with a couple of pieces in mind. October 14th, 9:41 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 4. Hey, Nick! What is it this time? I love this song, by the way. This is one of my favorite songs across like all three of them. I really like this one. You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atmey's trial today. Wait. Wasn't the judge presiding over... Did they switch judges for Atmey's second half of this trial? That's weird. Because our judge, old man judge, was presiding over the stolen urn case. And this is still the stolen urn case, though, but now we're on a murder. Detective Atmey? They say they're going to try him as Mask to Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Mask to Mask trial. I know. But who is that? By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. Fair enough. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please, don't ignore me! Oh. Oh, Mr. Delight. Good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me, even if I killed someone. A little while ago, I said that you were my least favorite defendant so far, but now that we have a bit more information, I don't think you're that bad. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No, I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murderer, Nick? It's possible. But today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Alright. October 14th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, courtroom number 6. Yep, judge is still here, so they just switched judges, which is kind of weird. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the week. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godot. He's got the judge in the palm of his hand, yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godot. Huh. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes. Well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. I love Godot. I love his vague, like, inspirational wisdom shit that he has going on just to seem cool. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated at 1 a.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godot, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godot, your witness? He doesn't give a fuck. Okay then, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but... I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. I like that we're calling back to this. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify.
Huh. You've got guts, Trite. All right then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand.
All right, Ron.
You did it, didn't you?
Yes. What? What? No. That's not true. What a start.
For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever.
Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin.
Huh. Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security?
Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home.
Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened.
Okay. Tell us. That evening around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I'd been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was.
That was short. 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. Ha! It's bitter today, too. Just like my destiny.
You never know that from the way he's chugging it down. Yeah.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please.
All right. That evening around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. 1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes. That's when my watch said I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also...
1 a.m., that's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure.
The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. It orders you there. It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere.
Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters, then?
Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this, or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? I mean, let's press harder, sure. So what did the blackmail letters in question say? It said to bring $50,000.
Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder.
Oh, but wait! I never intended to pay that money anyway.
Oh? Is that right?
After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of.
An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. Okay. The blackmail threat didn't scare me. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Yes, it would have. Because Desiree would have been mad at you. Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. Okay. Yep, I jumped the gun. God damn it. I don't know what I was thinking, but... Okay, fine. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway?
The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct?
I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me.
He didn't?
Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So that's why Miss Delight didn't believe he was mask-to-mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. Okay. Interesting. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. You used to be a security guard for security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right.
A security chief? You? And yet, A year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? A perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say?
This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject? Why were you fired? Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well...
The world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that.
Okay, then I take it back.
Defendant, please answer the question.
Well, I needed money.
You needed money?
Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company.
Come again?
KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief...
You stole some data and sold it.
Mr. Bullard found out. I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good.
Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that.
He sure told you.
So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony.
Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse, crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste! I didn't realize that was... It's not a waste! So Miss Delight doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples.
Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright.
There wasn't much to his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least, that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. Huh, okay. The blackmail I got ordered me to go there. Didn't scare me. It wasn't going to cause trouble or anything, but it would have caused trouble. Because if everybody, if it was revealed that you were mask to mask, then Desiree would have been pissed at you and wouldn't have liked you anymore, called you a coward, a liar, or whatever. Did I ever press on this statement? I don't know if I did. Just what were you being blackmailed about anyway?
The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct?
Okay, I did not press on this. I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing.
I'm afraid that reason isn't going to hold up anymore.
What do you mean?
The victim had no proof the defendant was mask to mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier.
But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true the fact that I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data. I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Yes, he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public.
Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Ha! Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow.
What the fuck does that mean? That's exactly right.
Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo.
Little lawyer amigo?
Yes, now come on. Provide some evidence to back up your assertion. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data-stealing secret from going public? Okay, I did read it right. I second-guessed myself. Because Desiree hates criminals. Okay, I was on the right track the whole time. Got it. Okay, Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh?
What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. A certain person. Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. But listen to me, my Desi, she's...
Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Godot. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh.
No, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that, or you'll be sorry! Well,
it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far.
What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. I've literally been recording for like 20 minutes. That's wild.
Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears.
Okay. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead.
Okay. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mask struck him on the head from behind.
Of course, since Atme turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie.
Huh! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that.
What are you saying? I really was attacked!
We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend.
You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. Okay. What do we got? When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Who was this suspicious shadow? If there were 1,000 of me and even one knew, I'd tell you. Trust me. His dodging all of our questions is not helping us win this case. Okay, then how was the victim Mr. Bullard at that time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it. Suddenly I was hit on the forehead. After that I remember being a bit dazed. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was a fast and powerful hit, so I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delight even grasped what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. Wearing what? I know it's the Master mask, but we need to establish that for the court. That? Could you please clarify what you were referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course.
Wait just a moment! Master Mask?
Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as Master Mask. And then I descended upon the office at CEO of KB Security.
What?
Why is everybody so surprised? Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either.
Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets.
I'm sorry. I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait. That's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind?
Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly.
That's so much coffee.
At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony.
Okay. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my mask-to-mask costume. Why were you dressed up as mask-to-mask? Why? Because I'm mask-to-mask, of course.
What are you talking about? Mask to Mask's trial is being held next door.
Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the mask-to-mask issue. So I thought I should go as him, just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about?
We need to know.
What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body.
What was that? Back up a second.
Yes?
You were the one that hid the body in the safe?
Well, yeah.
Inconceivable!
This is going so bad.
Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine?
This song!
What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying.
Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer?
Huh. So you're not as stupid as you look.
His metaphor this time was really obscure.
Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you?
Well, yes.
Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Okay. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw that corpse, I kinda lost it. I thought, if they find his corpse, they'll think I did it.
Huh. I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense.
Hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body? And spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh, I get it. Hey, Nick, if you think his behavior was so strange, why don't you present some evidence to show that just what those circumstances were? Okay, that was actually a pretty good hint from the game. Usually they kind of just leave it up to like, there's a contradiction somewhere. Good luck. There's not much in his testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. I wouldn't be surprised we'll just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. Okay. So yeah. The alarm was going off. It was pressed. So you wouldn't have spent 10 fucking minutes putting the body away. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record?
And what might this be?
The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m.
What?
If Mr. Ron Delight truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea where there were security personnel in the building.
He worked there? Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as chief of security, yeah. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them.
But, as it turns out, the guard never came.
That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known. That is so grounds for speculation, considering what we've proven in court, but I hope it flies.
Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Man, this is such a back and forth. This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is.
Conscious? What do you mean by that? Ugh. Fine. Let's hear your theory.
Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes.
Unconscious? So he fainted.
That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body.
So what are you trying to say?
Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in the room. That's right, whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer.
Oh, order in the court! Mr. Wright, this is preposterous. It was this kid. Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Then who pressed the buzzer?
It was the victim, of course. Nope. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? Impossible. I need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Yes, I can prove it. The defense's opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. Yep, there are no fingerprints on it. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it?
Absolutely not.
Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth.
The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue.
No, I'm the one who's clueless.
Usually you are. That's okay. Our job is to explain it to you. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally, he would have left his fingerprints behind.
Ron Delight obviously wiped them off.
Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment.
He touched that button. I know he did.
The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Mask to Mask. And Mask to Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have to wipe the button free of fingerprints? We got him.
Order! 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 Huh. It would seem. I've been forced to eat crow.
I wonder what blend number crow flavored coffee is. I'm sure he has it.
However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer?
Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? It was to frame Ron.
What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ha! It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks.
They're on to you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. I've got to figure it out. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed, security was supposed to respond.
Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say.
Very well then.
Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent.
Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To call the security guard. It's simple. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted.
Do you mean to say the killer caught the guard on purpose?
Yes, although, as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time.
Huh, what a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in?
No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Ron DeLight, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer.
Hypothetically, yes.
Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Ron DeLight. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Ron DeLight for the murder. The slow response.
Order! 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 Huh. It would seem. I've been made to eat my words once again.
Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only masked and masked, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. DeLight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane... Wow, a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard.
Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron DeLight for the murder of Kane Bullard?
There's still a couple things that we have to prove, most specifically how the camera took a photo of him at 1 a.m. stealing the urn, but he could have modified the computer data or whatever. It was definitely 100% Luke Atme. Detective Luke Atme. He's the only one who could have done it.
Ace Detective.
Luke Atme.
You mean Master Mass did it?
Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. This is so complicated. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. This is so weird. I couldn't imagine being in the judge's position.
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself!
Theft and murder, which is the more serious crime.
They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to capital punishment.
Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atme confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom.
Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, Master Mask.
Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along.
To be found guilty?
Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atme's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi.
A guilty verdict. As an alibi?
It's smart, for sure.
You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atme's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial, after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atme's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. DeLight would be left with no grounds for appeal.
Am I really sure about this?
Huh. A bet's only good when your life's the ante.
Mr. Wright, I believe in you! Mr. DeLight, So, please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice. It sounds like... Mia! Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess.
Huh. So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke at me to the stand.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh boy.
Of course.
Well, Sir Detective Amy.
I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly.
Oh no, Sir Detective Amy. You were the one who...
Oh my god! Who is this?
That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant, Luke at me.
They all have grand beards. Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom.
Who's this hoser, eh?
I don't like him. My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke at me.
Accusation? You accuse Mask to Mask?
That man is not Mask to Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer.
What?
That's right. To be continued. That was a pretty short trial. But we got a part 2 coming, for sure. All right. Well, I'm excited to see how this whole thing wraps up. So, thank you all for watching this episode of Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations Blind. I've been Guildmaster Wiggly. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you want to follow my socials or join my Discord, they're in the description. And I hope to see you all next time when... I'm assuming this is the final part of the case. I mean, I don't really see how we could prolong it another day. So I'll see you guys when we finish the trial. I'm taking the chance.